Hi, Michael. Hi, Ernesto. Today's question is, are there changes on the level of perception when one has progressed and abides more firmly in Atma swarupa? Can we recognize ourselves more clearly by means of these perceptual changes as pure self-consciousness and not as much as this body-mind? Can one actually perceive less separation between forms, the outlines that separate or delimitate forms, bodies, flashes of light around people, celestial sounds?
So long as we rise as ego, we take ourselves to be the form of a body. And when we take ourselves to be the form of a body, we see so many other forms. That doesn't change. So long as ego, until ego is eradicated, that will continue. It is not that our perception changes, rather our outlook changes. That is, we become more and more detached. Though we are still seeing the same world, we're still experiencing the same difficulties and problems, but the nature of life is embodied existence is a problem, and it brings so many problems along with it. So we all experience difficulties and challenges and everything. All these will continue, but our outlook, our attitude towards them slowly gets modified. That is, as we become more detached, we are less concerned about these things. We are able to maintain our equanimity, even in the midst of whatever problems come. So it is the change that is taking place is an inward change, not a change in the perception. The world still looks the same. Grass still looks green, the sky still looks blue, snow is still cold, the tropical sun is still hot. If we fall into water and are drowning, we'll be gasping for air. All these, it's exactly the same. The laws of physics remain the same, but our attitude towards all these things will be different. We will no longer be our likes, our dislikes, our desires, attachments, all these things, they'll still be there to some extent, but they'll be less strong. So that is the change that gradually comes about as we follow this path.
I read in different books. I don't remember now if it's in some Brahma Sutra or in one Upanishad. I don't know. I don't remember now what. But what I read is that when the ego is going reduced, no,
Yes.
very reduced, you begin to accept. You can acceder, Carlos. How is acceder? Is access, no? You begin to access to a more subtle views or more. It's ego. The ego is not finished, no?
Yeah.
But some you can hear some noises that before you can hear. You can see a contour of light around some people. No? These cities, the people wants to think that they are special. No, this is the problem. No, but do you think or do you hear about when the ego is very, very reduced, very near of the final eradication of the ego, this perception more subtle about the finish, the begin to the finish of the forms, or to see that all that is, all this world is more seen like an illusion, more clear an illusion perception.
There are people, according to their previous practices and beliefs and everything, who have mystical experiences, so-called. They may have visions. They may even acquire certain occult power. I mean, of these what you call, like occult powers, or they may see things which couldn't be seen before. All these are possible, but it is only a distraction, because because this is all a dream. In this dream, anything is possible. For most of us, if we are fortunate, we don't see all these things, because we already had so much problem with the phenomena we see. If we see other phenomena, more subtle phenomena, or more divine phenomena, or whatever we call it, as Bhagavan says in verse 20, verse 20 of Uḷḷadu Nāṛpadu, I think, he says, seeing God without seeing oneself is just seeing a mental vision, a manamaya mamkakshi. So whatever divine things we may see, even if we have a vision of God himself, even if God appears in the form of Jesus or Shiva or Buddha or whatever is our imagination, even if God appears in that form, according to Bhagavan, that's all a manamaya mamkakshi. That means a mental vision, a mental construction, a mental fabrication. So no phenomenon is real. Whatever we perceive, it is not real. What is real is only I am. So, but if we see more things, that is a disadvantage, because with them there are more things to distract us. If I can begin to see the aura around people, and I can see, oh, this person has a red aura, this person has a green aura, so this person's a bad person, that person's a good person, or all these, I mean, people have so many imagination. There are people who say, I can see auras, or I can see angels, or I can see devas, or all these things. Maybe they do see these things, but it's all, in a dream I can fly, but so what? It's very nice when I fly. I enjoy flying in a dream, but it doesn't last very long. And all these things are, to experience phenomena of any kind, only when we rise as ego do we experience phenomena. So experiencing phenomena is the problem. We need to stop seeing anything. Supposing we see an aura, or supposing we hear some divine music or whatever, what should we do? According to Bhagavan, to whom do all these things appear? To me. We should turn our attention back to ourselves. So whatever may appear, whatever wonderful things may happen, we should turn our attention back to ourselves. But generally, if we're following Bhagavan's path, he will save us from all these things. That is, he won't give us all these divine visions or occult powers or any of these things, because these are just a distraction.
Still a second, third person. So
exactly.
It's not the first person
experience.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We need to attend only to I. That's all.
Yeah. Okay.
But the more we attend to I, the more our outlook will change. So if outlook change in the sense will become more detached. So even if we have a vision of Shiva or Vishnu or Jesus or whoever, we will be less concerned about it. Once someone asked Bhagavan, what would you ask for? If God appeared before you, what would you ask for? Bhagavan said, I'd ask him to stop appearing before me, because things that appear are troublesome. We don't want to see what appears. We want to see what is ever existing. God is that which is always shining in us as I. So if he appears outside in the form of Bhagavan or Shiva or Vishnu or whoever it may be, that is only a distraction when we need to turn within. But if he appears in the form of Bhagavan, if it's really Bhagavan, he'll say, turn within, don't look at me, look at you. Because that is the whole of Bhagavan's teachings.
Yeah.
Even when Bhagavan was there in flesh and blood. So Bhagavan is God himself. So those who were fortunate to be there with Bhagavan, they were seeing God himself day in, day out. But what was Bhagavan? Bhagavan never said, oh, look at me, I'm God. He said, look at yourself, you are God.
What is clear is that the most you are attending yourself, no, in an Atma-swarupa,
Yes.
more disappear the elements of the life, no. More people disappear, more experiences disappear.
The elements of the life, what are the seeds that give rise to all this is our Vishaya vasanas. Those Vishaya vasanas get weakened. The picture show continues, but we are less affected by it because we're less concerned about it. Bhagavan says in verse 6 of Aruṇācala Aṣṭakam, after describing how the world is a projection, like a picture on the cinema screen, he ends up by saying, Nindrida Sendrida Ninevida Vindre. Let them continue or let them stop. They are not other than you. So we shouldn't be concerned whether phenomena appear or they don't appear. What we need to be attending to is what is the reality behind all these phenomena. That is only I am. If we cling to I am, we can be indifferent to the appearance or disappearance of the world. But in effect, if we cling to I am, the world won't appear. If we're really clinging to I am, if we cling to I am so intensely that we withdraw our attention from everything else, no world will appear. But if a world appears, we shouldn't, oh no, a world has appeared, how am I going to get rid of this world? We should be indifferent to it. Let it appear or let it disappear. My only concern is to attend to myself. So it's a very subtle point Bhagavan makes there. He's not saying it's okay if a world appears. He's saying we should be in, what he's indirectly teaching us, we should be indifferent to the appearance of the world. The fact that the state we are seeking is a state in which the world doesn't appear is very clear in the next verse, which he begins by saying, Indraha menonina venipira ondram. That is, if this thought I does not exist, everything else will not exist. Or nothing else will exist. So even one other thing will not exist. So it's only because we rise as ego that all these things appear. Therefore, he said that we should turn within to investigate the source from which this I rises. The source from which I rises is only ourself. When we investigate ourself, this dream of duality will come to an end, and what will remain is only the one reality, which is Aruṇācala, as he says in that verse.
And for example, Michael, in the case of Tinai Swami, did you know Tinai?
Yeah,
no?
yes.
What's different, no? Attitude, respect, Bhagavan, for example, no? Bhagavan, well, the most of the time is in silence, but sometimes speak with some people. Yeah. But Tinai is like the
Tinai Swami's state was somewhat like the state Bhagavan was in when he first came to Tiruvannamalai. That is, it's not actually any different, but that is, in old texts, they talk about 4 levels of jnanis: Brahma Bhad, Brahma Bhariya, Brahma Varishtam, Brahma Bhariya. I can't remember. These are all technical terms. Bhagavan said all these differences are not differences in jnana. They're only differences in the view of the onlooker, because different jnani, the jnani has no prarabdha, but the body of the jnani has a prarabdha. So some jnanis, it's their prarabdha to appear perfectly normal, to act like any other person. You may not even be able to know they're a jnani. Whereas others are more withdrawn. That's all according to prarabdha. So Tinai Swami's prarabdha was such, he was in a very withdrawn state. That is, from our point of view. Of course, from his point of view, there is only I am, only jnana, there's no multiplicity. So perhaps Bhagavan gave Tine Swami such a prarabdha to exemplify what is that state of, so that it's visible to our gross outward-looking mind, what is that state of complete detachment, complete indifference to the body. Bhagavan was in the same state even in later years, but it seemed that Bhagavan was more involved in the world than he, earlier years, he was very, very much, from our perspective, he was very much absorbed in himself. Of course, it's no different from his perspective, but it's only from our perspective, these differences.